mind games with the women who work for him, manipulating their hearts to cash in on their bodies. As if that weren't bad enough, some pimps in Atlanta are pulling the same con on children. But for those pimps, doing that turns out to be a big mistake. We return now to the streets of Atlanta with Don Dahler.
They're on the lookout for vice.
Lieutenant Tony Biello with Atlanta Vice has seen too many times how a pimp can take over a young girl's life.
They're low-level hustlers that have the gift of gab and have a very, very keen sense of how to pick up on a young female's weakness.
Vice Squad Sergeant Randy Traylor.
A lot of them don't have fathers. I don't think they have a father figure, and that's why these guys manipulate them into thinking, I care for you.
But in the end, Biello says, the pimps really couldn't care less.
He's going to destroy her life. He's going to use her up until she's either dead, hooked on drugs, or locked up in prison.
Hey, Burns.
Go ahead.
The Vice cops say for years they've been trying to take the prostitutes off the streets and put their pimps out of business.
We've got 3 walking southbound on Metro.
But it was almost always the hookers and the Johns who got busted, not the pimps. And even if they were arrested, the penalty was little more than a slap on the wrist. That's because in the state of Georgia, while prostitution is a felony, pimping is only a misdemeanor.
So even if you arrested the pimp and you brought in, what would typically happen?
He'd post a bond that same night and walk out. He'd probably be out of jail before we were done the detail for the night.
You know the rules, pimp, your bitch is choosing.
The pimps in Atlanta were virtually untouchable. Some were so arrogant, they appeared in a video documentary called Really, Really Pimpin' in the South.
Pimps be pimping.
Which brazenly glorifies the game and their pimp lifestyle. These were heady days, the pimps in Atlanta. But then they went too far. Some of them began recruiting and even coercing children to become prostitutes. Like this girl, we'll call Gloria. She says last year, when she was just 12 years old, a pimp made her have sex with a stranger and tried to force her to be a prostitute.
He bought me a whore outfit.
A whore outfit?
A whore outfit.
Describe that for me.
The outfit with skirt fits, skin tight. You don't wear no underwear, no bra, and a wig, lipstick, some probably 8-inch heels.
How'd you feel when you put that on?
I felt like a whore because I had to wear that, and I had to prostitute for him, and I didn't want to do it. So they just mess your head up, have you afraid of them, make you want to kill yourself, make you feel like life's not worth living.
Gloria eventually escaped, but many others were not so lucky.
It's something that can happen to anybody's child.
One of the first to realize that Atlanta had a child prostitution problem was Nina Hickson, a juvenile court judge in Fulton County, Georgia.
My colleagues and I at the court are seeing anywhere from 20 to 30 girls a month. Now that doesn't mean that these girls are necessarily charged with the offense of prostitution, but as we begin to delve into their stories, to understand what's going on in their lives, we find out that they are involved in prostitution.
Judge Hickson realized it would take even more than her judicial powers to deal with the problem. So she wrote an editorial in the local newspaper calling child prostitution in Atlanta an epidemic.
I was just stunned.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Janice Gordon was galvanized by Hickson's editorial and got the FBI to investigate.
That there was a group of pimps and that they specialized in kids, that they worked certain areas, that they traded the girls, they sold the girls, they beat the girls, they took their money, they provided them with drugs, and it was just a terrible situation, and someone had to do something about it.
So Gordon decided to go after the pimps with the RICO statute. That's the federal anti-racketeering law most often used against drug dealers and the mafia. For the first time ever, the government was saying pimping is organized crime.
More than a dozen Metro Atlantans face federal charges tonight, accused of running a major child prostitution ring right here.
In all, 15 of the biggest players in the game were hauled to jail, including some who'd appeared in the Pimp video. And this time, they would not just be paying a fine and getting out. Now, they were facing 20 years in prison. Needless to say, the Pimp crackdown raised tensions in the game.
That's what I'm talking about. Get some gun. Get some gun. Where the bitch at? Where the bitch at? I'll take your bitch.
The heat is on Fresh and his fellow pimps like Straight Lace, and they're feeling it.
All you gonna do is want to fight. All you gonna do is want to put your hands on me. Nigga, you can't out-pimp me.
This fight may have started because Straight Lace took one of Fresh's women.
You said it a confession.
But it's really about how our cameras could bring unwanted attention to the pimping business, which is already under attack.
I came here to do my thing without you doing all across the country, nigga. Thank you.
13 of the 15 pimps indicted in the Atlanta crackdown have